How's it going, everyone? This is the George here, and today I'm going to be reviewing Nosferatu. That's right. Right. This movie was directed by Robert Eggers and stars Bill Skarsgård, Nicholas Hoult, Lily Rose Depp, and Willem Dafoe. And in this movie, we have Count Orlik, the vampire, who is trying to get the wife of a real estate agent who is seeing this vampire in her dreams, feeling possessed by him. And it's pretty similar to the basic story of Dracula, although Nosferatu was basically a remake of the Dracula story with its own unique twist in way of telling the story. Nosferatu came out in 1922, and for many people like me, around my age, a little older, a little younger, we were introduced to Nosferatu through SpongeBob, that episode when it was the night shift and Nosferatu was flickering the lights, and everyone was like, Nosferatu. And I was wondering, like, who is this horrifying character? He obviously wasn't created for SpongeBob. That was just my thought process as a kid. I didn't realize it was based off an actual silent movie from 1922. And Robert Eggers has been attached to this project for almost a decade now. In July 2015, he was attached to writing and directing this movie. And July 2015, just to add context for me personally, that was the last time I lived in my original home state of Pennsylvania, where I grew up and went to live my first 18 years. It was a month after I graduated high school. It was also the end of July that I moved to where I've been living for the last over 9 years. So that's a long time to be attached to this project, and it took a while to get moving. He's directed other projects since then, including The Lighthouse, which is another phenomenal movie directed by him. That also stars Willem Dafoe. At one point, Anya Taylor Joy was attached to playing playing the main role in this movie before it was Lily Rose Depp took over. So with Nosferatu, this basically gives greatness back to vampire movies, because for a while, when you think vampire movie, you thought of Twilight. We forgot that before Twilight kind of sullied the vampire name, that we used to have great vampire movies, from the classic Universal movies with Dracula to Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula movie from 1992, where Gary Oldman did a fantastic job playing Dracula. It feels like quite a while since we've gotten a great vampire movie, and we have gotten back to that because this movie captures the feel of what a vampire gothic horror movie should feel. For example, Count Orlok, the Nosferatu vampire that Bill Skarsgård plays, he does a phenomenal job playing this character. His look, his deep voice, how he sounds, it's like you couldn't tell that was Bill Skarsgård. It reminded me of how Colin Farrell, like how he captured Penguin in the Batman and the Penguin series that had come out this past fall so well. How unrecognizable he looks, how unrecognizable, how you could he doesn't even sound like Colin Farrell. It's basically the same thing with Bill Skarsgård. I know he was Pennywise in it, but it's like you even still, he's playing a different kind of terrifying, horrifying villain in here. His presence alone. And what I like is that the way that he looks, it's not just like, replicating how Nosferatu looked in the original Nosferatu movie. He has his own distinct design and look to him. That's what I like about these vampire movies, whether it's Dracula or Nosferatu. To every version of this character, it feels like they have their own distinct look. For example, Gary Oldman in the Dracula movie from 1992 has his own distinct look. The Universal Classic Monsters Dracula had his own distinct look. Here, once again, a distinct look for our main vampire villain. And it looks great. It looks horrifying the way that he sounds. And it adds a level of horror that is not that it's terrifying, but it's just like when his presence is felt, it feels terrifying alone. I love the visual imagery of his shadow, when his shadow's lurking around, particularly when it's in any of the houses that Rose Depp's character is staying in, or when the shadow of his hand is going over the city, looking like he's claiming this town, the city that they live in. Great visual, looks great. I also love this movie. It takes place around the wintertime. I'm pretty sure it takes place around Christmas. It seemed like they were celebrating Christmas in the movie, or they were trying to before Nosferatu came about and started terrifying the people, made people think it was the plague. But I think the winter setting also adds to that feel that there's a plague happening, that everyone's getting sick. It adds to that. But just how the dark gothic like setting, how the town looks, the time setting. One of the things I like about Robert Eggers movies is, when it's a specific time period, he captures it so well with the setting, with the costumes, with how the characters are acting, what's going on. And it's the same thing here. But in this movie, it's not just Bill Skarsgård that stands out very well. Nicholas Hoult does a fantastic job, as well as Thomas Hutter, the real estate agent that goes to this castle. So he's based off the Jonathan Harker character from the original Dracula story, where he goes to the castle, he gets locked in the castle, he tries to come back to save his wife, but Nicholas Hoult does a fantastic job. And the way like Holt captures the fear when he's in this vampire's presence, he does such a great job with that. The build up to him getting to the castle is great as well. The different people saying don't go to the castle, or like the dreams that he's having. Such a great setup to that moment when he gets into the castle. Now, Lily Rose Depp as his wife, Ellen, fantastic job from her as well. And I'm gonna be honest, I haven't seen her in anything before this movie came out. But watching this movie, she is a fantastic actress. She did a great job. To me, the most horrifying thing in this movie is when she's having these dreams and she's feeling or being possessed, and how she's acting, the way she's talking, the way she's moving around. To me, that was the most terrifying part of the movie. It almost felt like I was in an Exorcist movie at times, but she did such a great job performing that. And I I hope she gets like consideration to be nominated for Best Actress this award season, because she did such a great job with that. Willem Dafoe, as well as this professor who is studying the occult, who believes in this connection between Ellen and Count Orlok, that believes that something beyond the plague is happening while everyone else doesn't. He does such a great job as well. He's one of my favorite actors, but here he does another phenomenal job. Also, Aaron Taylor Johnson. This past December, we know Craven the Hunter had came out. I didn't see Craven. I wasn't gonna waste my money to go watch it. But here it feels like being in this movie, and even though he plays a supporting character, his performance does a, does a very good job, and it feels like he redeemed himself in this movie. And also, Bill Skarsgård redeemed himself from being in the Crow movie as well. But yeah, the way this movie feels, the soundtrack for this movie is incredible. Just the visuals, the film work. This is top notch film work right here. One thing I will say though, a couple of things to advise with this movie. Obviously, if you're not into horror movies, I don't recommend it. Although I would say the horror aspect isn't, it's terrifying, but it's not as terrifying as you would think. Although it's still terrifying. But to me, I feel like this movie, they go all out with some of the more like the best way to describe how the best way to describe it, because it's I'm not used to talking about this. Basically, the lovemaking scenes in this movie, they go for it with some of those scenes. So if you're not into that with your movies, I'm just giving you a fair warning. There's a couple of moments of that in this movie. I really don't have any negatives with this movie, although I will say, because this is a remake of Nosferatu, which is basically a remake of Dracula, it's going to feel similar to the Dracula story. People are going to compare this to, if anything, Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula movie from 1992. You got the solicitor slash real estate agent that travels to the castle, meets the Count, gets locked in the castle. The Count goes back to the hometown. He goes on a boat, kills all the people on the boat. That, like the basic premise of what happens in this. Although they both have their own unique tastes and flavors, I will say I feel like this movie was the better made, darker movie that's critics are gonna praise. I think this was the better movie, but I think the Francis Ford Coppola Dracula movie from 1992 is probably going to be seen as the more entertaining Dracula movie, as far as like Dracula movies that have come out that's not from Universal Classic Monsters, or have at least come out after 1990. Yeah, that's the best way to make the comparison. But yeah, this is a movie that I think is going to get consideration during award season. It's a well-made movie, definitely the best horror movie of the year, one of the best horror movies that have come out in recent years. It's brought greatness back to the vampire side of the horror genre. Great performances from Bill Skarsgård, Lily Rose Depp, Nicholas Hoult, and Willem Dafoe. I love that it takes place in a winter setting. I love the gothic feel of the movie, the visual stuff with Nosferatu, Count Orlok shadows. Those overall, it's a great movie. One of the best movies of 2024. Not my favorite movie of 2024. I would say my top two favorite movies would be Dune Part 2 and Furiosa. But yeah, overall, I'm going to give Nosferatu an A. If you're a fan of horror, if you're a fan of vampire movies and want to see a good vampire movie on the big screen, I highly recommend you check out Nosferatu. It's well made. Robert Eggers does a fantastic job as always, and I would love to see him make more horror movies that are period pieces as well. And by the way, Chris Columbus, yeah, the same Chris Columbus that directed the first two Harry Potter movies and the first two Home Alone movies, he's also a producer on this movie. That's very interesting to learn. But yeah, Nosferatu, have you seen it? What'd you think about it? And what's your favorite horror movie or vampire movie? I gotta rewatch some vampire movies. Or what's your favorite movie of 2024? Let me know in the comments down below. And I want to thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe already. If you haven't, please share this with someone that loves vampire movies, that loves horror movies, that's into vampire movies. And I hope to see you guys real soon. And yeah, I know this is a 2024 movie that I'm reviewing on the first day of 2025, but it's still in theaters and not everyone has seen it yet. But yeah, as far as reviews on this channel goes, this month this will be a makeup month, reviewing the old movies I wanted to review last year that I didn't get to review. I really slacked off last year, so this month I'm gonna be catching up on reviewing stuff that I didn't review before, as well as reviewing all the Captain America movies before Captain America: Brave New World comes out. Anyways, I hope to see you guys real soon. Take care, everyone.